This is a story about finding out that your ex-boyfriend is now dating none other than the Casey Anthony. It's one of many stories I'll be telling on my channel about people who have strange connections to the top mom. This one is funny and grabbed my attention because it started all over TikTok. This nice young lady is named Kim. And in October of this year, 2022, she posted a video to her TikTok account, which was typically about being a mom and having a young child. And in the video, she posted a picture of her ex-boyfriend with Casey Anthony.
How is the best case scenario, Joe Biden?
Her TikTok account blew up to millions of subscribers and likes pretty much overnight because people wanted to know more about this story, and Kim went on to share the tea. Through a series of messages combined with Kim's TikTok accounts, here's a summary of what happened regarding Kim and her quote-unquote psycho ex-boyfriend. Kim's ex-boyfriend is named Joe. I'll protect his last name for now, but he's all over Facebook and I've checked him out. Basically, when Kim was like 14 to 16 years old, she started dating Joe. He was a little bit older, in the like 17 to 19-year-old age range during that time. Kim provides some stories and information on what happened to her with Joe, but eventually when they parted, she started telling everyone that she thought Joe was really a psychopath. She lists several reasons why she became completely disturbed by his behavior. It seems like he was dishonest and even created his own crazy narrative about his life that wasn't true. Does that remind you of someone? Kim moved on, dated other people, now has a family and a child. But pretty recently, another friend of hers ended up sending her a message through social media saying, "Hey, do you remember Joe? Do you know that he's dating Casey Anthony and he's flaunting it all over his social media?" She lets us see it here. It says in part, "And Joe told me that they had met one time, they took a picture together, and then Joe found out she was a murderer, and so he stopped talking to her. Clearly that wasn't the case. He obviously had a full-blown relationship with her, and it was so disgusting." So the friend is telling her, like, she sees all these pictures on Facebook of them over and over again. And she says, "I can't believe he actually dated her." And the friend says, "Yes, girl, it's so messed up," and sends all these pictures. The friend sent Kim some messages and pictures of Joe with Casey Anthony, which are apparently all over his Facebook. According to the friend, Joe thinks it's amazing. He loves to talk about it and tell everyone he's with Casey. Kim obviously thinks this is crazy and gross, but also she feels like it really backs up her initial claims that she always made about her ex Joe being completely effed up. Okay, let's listen to the story straight from Kim's mouth.
And I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
But I'm first just going to start off by saying that this is extremely nerve-wracking for me. I really had no genuine idea that this was going to go viral. I know everybody says that when their stuff goes viral, they try to make it seem like it was an accident or whatever, but like, it's trauma, okay? Like, I made a TikTok about how he used to tell me how I had to do my hair, and how he literally told me that after I showed up at his house with black hair after having bleached blonde hair, that if I didn't dye it blonde by Monday, he was going to shave all my hair off, okay? And like, excuse me, but like, would that not alarm you? You know, I went through 3 years of enduring everything with him in my life. It was not good. It was not easy, and it was certainly not something that I ever thought that I would end up in. I grew up extremely poor and neglected, and I had been assaulted several times in my childhood. I did not have a sound, safe home. I did not have people who poured love into me and told me that I was a worthy human being. So when I met him, and when he showered me with kindness and love and all of these things and attention, I obviously fell for it, okay? Like, you can't blame a 14-year-old girl for thinking she met the man of her dreams. Like, you can't victim blame me and tell me that I should have known. How the heck, whatever, so this doesn't get removed, how the heck am I supposed to know? You don't know these things until you know. And there are still people who have known him ever since this that truly believe he was innocent, and that I'm just someone who's crazy and obsessed with him. Okay? I'm not obsessed with him. I'm afraid. He's dangerous, and people need to know who he is, because he has not and will not stop. He's not somebody who feels any remorse or cares about what people think about him. He is very insecure, and he is a coward, but he is still crazy. He is still dangerous, and that fear and insecurity he has is what drives him to be even worse. He lashes out when he's scared and insecure. The very first story he ever told to me, so when I met him, he actually had Facebook messaged me. And he just told me I was pretty and whatever. Like, it wasn't even like anything. And we hung out for the first time, and he told me this story about how he played football. He was literally captain of the football team. He was like this weightlifter guy. Everybody thought he was just it, you know? And there's some people that definitely thought there was something off about him, but those kind of people, like, no one really paid attention to or worried about or cared about at the time. Like, nobody thought anything of any of it. So he's telling me this story about how he's in the locker room, and the guys are asking, like, well, who do you think is the most overlooked girl in the school? And this is just the story he told me. Do I know the truth or what actually happened in the locker room? Obviously not. But he told me that he said me, and everyone made fun of him and stuff, and he told me this story, which what I now come to understand was likely a manipulation tactic to make him seem like he saw me over all the other girls in the school and thought I was special, when really, when he heard that, he realized I was vulnerable. There was no competition. There's no other guys that like me, no other guys that think I'm even remotely attractive or special or anything. So he knew that I would be an easy target at that time, at least enough for him to try to start pursuing me. Like I said in part 1, like, I was swooned by him. I had no idea. He was really nice to me in the beginning of our relationship, and he was really sneaky with how he started to abuse me. He started out just by, like, always wondering where I was. He used to make me take pictures of myself and write his name or something that he asked me to, because after a while he said his name wasn't the same because I could have just taken the picture in advance. So he used to be like, draw a star on your thumb and then take a picture. Like, he just would make me do these wild things to prove where I was. Like, he would make me text him every second of class. I had my phone taken away constantly because he was always making me text him all day. He'd meet me at every classroom when I was leaving, walk me to my locker, and then he'd walk me to my classes, and he'd always be like, and remember, no boys, and stuff like this. Like, he always made me feel like there's something that I'm doing that he has to watch to make sure I'm doing something right. And, you know, at first I thought it was cute that he wanted to text me all day and blah, blah, blah. It took a while, like a solid year, almost 2 years, for me to fully grasp what I was in the middle of. One of the most messed up things about him was he had these, like, abandoned houses that his dad would buy at auction and then would fix up. And he started showing me these houses, like, after school instead of just going to his house, which I was always so relieved, because, like, when I went to his house, obviously really bad things happened to me. So it was really nice to go somewhere else, you know? And of course, like, at first he just, like, showed me the places. He never did anything, made it weird or anything like that. We just were there. And then, like, it was just one day. We just picked a day, and he just started doing really messed up things to me where, like, I'm being assaulted over a half-done bathroom with, like, no bathtub and, like, this random, like, old, like, just on carpet padding that has sawdust and wood chips in it. And it's like, sure, I could yell or scream, and then what? He's gonna take me to the house and, like, off me, because he definitely had plans to do those things many times. And he just knew too many people would know if I was missing or did something. Like, he straight up told me when I was with him in high school, one day he looked me straight in the face and said, the only reason that I haven't unalived you yet was because just too many people would know. And he said it's not worth it when he can just go find somebody else. And I was like, okay. What do you say to that? I just sat there in the car and I just sat there and I listened to him tell me this. Like, I was in the passenger seat of his white Cadillac. Yep. And so anyways, there are way too many stories, way too many instances. Like, there's just too much to be able to explain everything that is him and everything that he has done. But I mean, it's a lot. I mean, just what I went through with him is a lot. But I'm not the only one. There's so many, and like, that's a hard thing to grasp. You know, like, it's one thing to watch true crime things and see things, but it's a completely other thing. It's terrifying to just, like, truly absorb everything, like, all of it. You know, people have said, like, how are you taking this information? Like, I am completely just unreactive because, like, I've been through so much trauma in my life that when really serious things happen, I feel nothing. And I just...
Okay, so Kim's story is really hard to hear, and it's sad what she went through with this guy, Joe. It's crazy to think that years later she had to find out that he's now dating Casey Anthony. I hope you'll check out her TikTok if you want to go further down the rabbit hole, because there's so much information on there in the comments. She talks back and forth with many people living down in Florida who know Joe and know Casey Anthony, and they're going on and on about the relationship between Joe and Casey. I'm going to give you some simple information about what's going on with this guy, Joe. Casey Anthony's new boyfriend is named Joseph Andrew V. I'm not going to tell you his last name. He lives in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. He used to live in Michigan. He thinks she's innocent, and he wants to help her write her book eventually. He brags a lot about meeting her because he thinks she's like a celebrity. He is a medical exams tutor, allegedly. He has a set of video courses called Man of Heal. He is into weightlifting and bodybuilding, and he says that he met Casey Anthony in the gym. He cheated on his wife or girlfriend, it's unclear based upon his Facebook, with Casey. His father, Michael, was a psychologist and is in prison for providing drugs to his patients in exchange for certain types of favors. Of course, this is exactly the kind of person that we would expect to wind up with Casey Anthony. It's sad, of course, but it's so crazy and interesting to see this unfolding right before our eyes. All right, guys, I'm keeping my eye on this Joe guy, but my next video is going to be all about a former boyfriend or hookup buddy of Casey Anthony, who is a Palm Beach City police officer. I hope you tune in again and take some time to head down your own rabbit hole.